Okay, shout out to that boy Louaista. I think that's how you say it, Louaista. We just gonna call you Young Louie, okay? We're gonna call you Young Louie. Why everyone hates DJ Academics. So I'm really interested to see this video, see what points he makes. I actually like DJ Academics. I watch his content. I don't watch his live streams. I don't really watch anyone's live streams, but I do watch the clips. I watched them on Everyday Struggle. But obviously, it's no secret that a lot of people dislike this guy. I think the main reason, if I had to guess, would be because of the War on Chirac series, which people didn't seem to have an issue with at the time. It's in retrospect. People don't like how he was talking during that series, which, I mean, I understand why people wouldn't like it, but I don't dislike him because of it. I mean, it makes no difference to me. But anyways, here we go. Shout out to Louaista. He puts a lot of work in these videos.
Akademiks is always in the headlines for one reason or another. Whether it's his conflict with artists like Freddie Gibbs and Saucy Santana, his controversial comments, revelations.
That's crazy, being known for a conflict with Saucy Santana. That's not a good look.
About his personal life, or the chaotic personality that he displays on social media. Although his whole job just revolves around reporting on hip-hop news and drama, he somehow managed to be labeled as the most hated man in the hip-hop genre, to the point that these days, it seems like people are trying to bring him down once and for all. Today, we're gonna showcase all of the events that led him to this unfortunate point, starting with the time that he was called out by Nipsey Hussle in 2017. Over the years, Akademiks, real name Livingston Allen, went from a YouTuber on the fringes of hip-hop culture to becoming—
My boy was looking fit right there. He's looking, you know what I mean, a little slim.
One of the biggest commentators that the culture has to offer. Along the way, he also became one of the most polarizing figures, with some users suggesting that the biggest mistake of our generation was making this clown one of the voices of it.
Well, the generation didn't really make him the voice. Akademiks kind of made himself the voice through his reporting. Again, people can talk all the mess about the War in Chirac series, how hateful and bad it is, but I mean, people were drawn to that series. Those videos about, you know, the drill scene in Chicago back in the mid 2010s, people actually liked those videos. And that's literally the basis of why DJ Akademiks is popular. So we can pretend and pontificate like that was such a bad thing, but people liked and watched the series. That's just facts. Facts!
But the disapproval of some of the audience outside of his infamous stream chat is only part of the problem. Because for a lot of artists, the way that Ak conducts his business is seen as in no way beneficial to the culture. Back in 2017, the now deceased Nipsey Hussle pretty much set the tone for this argument.
Yeah, he's a buster. He's a weirdo. He's a whoop his ass in real life. He behind the camera, and you gotta just let clowns be clowns, man. Like I was on Everyday Struggle, and I walked out just because, you know, I'm not a clown. I don't come from that world of like you make jokes about. We used to fuck this up. We used to fuck this up for trying to film fights. He got a little internet run going on, but you know, we just gotta let himself destruct because he's on the path.
I wonder what the conversation on Everyday Struggle was like that made Nip walk out. I wonder why.
The only problem for those plotting on his downfall is that Ak has weathered every storm, even when he turned a whole city against him. Back when he was still at Rutgers University, Ak began making a documentary series on the inner city gang violence in Chicago, which is known as the War in Chirac.
Check it out now. Say niggas don't plan on living more than 10 or 15, maybe 20 years. 25, you're pushing it. 30, you definitely a senior citizen, okay? At least in Chirac.
Because he covered hip-hop, the argument was that this was about the emerging drill scene. But a lot of people he covered never picked up a mic in their lives. When discussing the purpose of the series, which ran for 3 years and got its own dedicated channel, Ak told Daily Dot that he wanted to show how stupid all of the violence was. You have to let people know that this is not even cool. This is ridiculous. You have to point out or use satire, and that's exactly what I've done. However,
well, even just more simply, the reason why Akademiks made those videos was because people wanted to see those videos. Like, that's facts. Facts! So we can blame Akademiks for capitalizing off of it, but if it wasn't Akademiks, someone else is going to make those videos about the drill scene, about those shooters. If people didn't care about it, he would have stopped making videos. He would have seen, like, yo, I only got 100 views on this video. I guess I should stop talking about this. But no, people wanted to hear and see what was going on there. That's the non-political, just very straightforward answer to that question. Why did he do it?
However, this comedic tone he used in the videos wasn't something that the people on the front lines or witnessing their friends lose their lives in O Block, Tukaville, and the other areas involved appreciated. Eventually, he came face to face with someone from Chicago, and he took the chance to let the world know how the people on the ground really felt about him.
I wanted to slap you in your face, honestly.
And here, I'm gonna let this play, but this Vic Mensa situation is so overblown. Because what do you expect Akademiks to do? Vic Mensa calls him a bitch. He said he would slap him. Akademiks is at work. What do you expect him to do? Do fisticuffs with Vic Mensa right here? You expect him to just fight him at work? Or you just expect to crash out over words? I think Ak handled this fine. I do have some critiques for Akademiks, which I'll get to, but this is way overblown. Like, I think Ak handled this as well as you could handle this while you're at work.
And I'm just seeing you here, so I'm like, this is a tame environment, so I would keep it to my words. Like, whatever made you feel like you had a space to have a perspective on our people dying on a daily basis? And I'm gonna tell you the truth, I really think you're a bitch. Like, this is not a video game. That's what I grew up with. I've known since I was 5 years old. And to see you come on the internet with this corny little voice and make jokes about it, like, you know, I was waiting to see you.
At the end of the day, Vic Mensa didn't do anything to him. I mean, it's not like you took off on him. It was on site. I mean, you checked him on camera, but like, come on, man. Like, this is always overblown, man. Anytime someone mentions this.
To this day, Vic Mensa still hasn't been able to let this go, calling Ak's channel a parasitic platform in February of 2023. His sentiments about how Ak used the Shy have been echoed by other Chi-Town rappers like G Herbo and 600 Breezy.
You know what I'm saying? Akademiks always got me into some shit. Stop putting shit together and I'm gonna get up with you, Akademiks.
Although he managed to get some Chi-Town rappers onto his podcast over the years, such as Lil Durk, it's no surprise that he still has no plans to visit over fear of what would happen.
I ain't going to Chicago. You won't catch me in Chicago.
And that's because of the whole Warren Chirac stuff?
I think me covering Chicago, I've developed such a fear of it.
But when he's not getting heat for using a whole city's heartache to make his name, he's catching flack for his obsession with numbers. Over the years, Akademiks has been so preoccupied with first week sales to point that, to him, it eclipses any discussion about artistry or the quality of music.
And that's what the numbers do. The numbers just signifies who's consuming it. Let me ask you this question, right? This inherent question that goes outside music. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears, does it make a sound? If someone makes the most amazing music ever, but no one listens to it, is it that amazing?
I think yes. To answer his question, yes. If someone makes amazing music is amazing music. Now, do you mean if literally zero people hear it, or if it's not charting on Billboard? I mean, which side of the exaggeration are we going on to? Because I've heard some really great rap albums that really never made it off Bandcamp. Like, I've heard it on Bandcamp and I still listen to it to this day, but it really hasn't taken off. But I still think it's great music.
It's a mindset like this that has done damage to his credibility and his relationship. Like when he infamously said a legend like Young Thug wasn't a big dog.
Or like McDonald's sells the most burgers worldwide, right? That doesn't make them the best burger spot. You might have a gourmet burger spot tucked away in a small city in Iowa or Nebraska that makes great gourmet burgers. But because they're not doing McDonald's numbers doesn't mean they're not good. I mean, just very simple logic there.
In hip-hop because he sold under 100K. It also led to him losing an ally like NBA Youngboy, who was cool with him until he started going down that route with one of his projects.
It says Akademiks acting like I give a f about numbers. I just dropped 2 weeks ago. This finna drop. I know I ain't worried about no numbers.
If you weren't worried about numbers, you wouldn't be mad about what Akademiks says. So you going on camera and slurring your speech high and like trying to get at Akademiks because he talked about numbers shows you do in fact care about numbers.
That's all you like to do is to get drunk and talk. That was gonna get you f***ed up.
But when it comes to Ak getting into hot water after commenting on someone's numbers, they don't come more infamous than his beef with Freddie Gibbs.
Jesus.
It all started after Freddie Gibbs threw some shade at his former label boss, Jeezy, on a podcast, claiming that he was irrelevant. Without being asked to, Akademiks waded into the conversation and claimed that it was actually Gibbs who was irrelevant.
I'm at the green. I would definitely not let a rapper selling 30,000 think he got and could flex on me. Sorry, buddy. I've been working in this game.
Ak might have been able to come out on top in most situations he'd found himself in up until then.
Yeah, I don't agree with Ak there, because Freddie Gibbs at that point, especially back then, this is everyday struggle cast. Nadeska, Wayno, Ak. Freddie Gibbs was very relevant in hip hop. He had just dropped some great albums with Madlib that were very prolific within the underground hip hop culture. So I don't think Akademiks, especially at this time, he kind of represented more the mainstream, like 6ix9ine, Lil Pump, those type of guys. So I don't think he was as in tune with what Freddie Gibbs was doing. But just because Freddie Gibbs only sold 30K, I mean, that 30K represented one of the best albums of the year, which was Bandana, if I'm not mistaken.
But this time, he'd run into a master troll. In a Twitter war for the ages, Freddie labeled him a Teletubby and even sold merch which pictured him as one, as well as offering $5,000 to any woman who would openly admit to sleeping with him. Freddie also released...
Well, Freddie Gibbs ended up taking an L at the whole end of this. I mean, I don't know if Louaista is going to get into it, but Freddie Gibbs took an L here.
Some hilarious freestyle.
Niggas ain't f***ing with me. When I catch Akademiks, I'ma squeeze them titties.
And overall, it seemed like Freddie had the last laugh, and Ak even admitted this on No Jumper.
I had just moved into my crib, 8,000 square feet. So I'm like, wait, this guy think I'm in a basement stream? I'm like, yo, bro, I guarantee my crib bigger than your whole situation. So I'm talking shit. I'm like, yo, post your tax returns. I show the whole world how broke you rappers are and what's really going on. And he was just like, yo, listen, man, you look like this little Teletubby in this meme that I'm gonna post. And everybody's like, that's way funny. And I'm like, fuck.
Besides, the hip-hop community had Freddie's back. Gibbs is respected worldwide. Who will remember Akademiks in 10 years? Nobody.
Well, I disagree there. People remember DJ Akademiks. At this point, he's a legendary hip-hop media figure for what he's done and how he's been able to not only grow and expand his platform. Like, people forget, Everyday Struggle was created because of Akademiks. It wasn't created because of Joe Budden, who was not on the up and up back then. It was... the way I see it, at least, it was Akademiks, and we're going to pair him with somebody because Akademiks had his pulse, his finger on the culture. Like he knew what was hot. He knew the younger rappers. Like he was a good representative of the new hip hop culture at the time. So you start there and all the way to where he is now. I mean, still doing extremely well. He's a legendary hip hop figure, whether you like him or not.
The whole thing has made me love Freddie Gibbs even more. Even huge YouTubers like Anthony Fantano came out in defense of Freddie Gibbs.
Meanwhile, Freddie Gibbs' responses to everything DJ Akademiks is saying, boy, shut the fuck up, you pay for sex. My son's room is bigger than your house, bitch, stop it. I'm not Vic Mensa. I want proof that you didn't have oral sex with Tekashi, so on and so forth. So everything Freddie is saying to him.
But as he's proven time and time again, it's hard to keep Ak down.
Yeah. Freddie Gibbs took an L.
He went on the offensive again, exposing Gibbs as having a cop for a dad.
His father's a police officer. I just want to paint the irony of this whole thing. A kid who grew up playing with his father's badge, handcuffs, police uniform, and gun, and also took allowance that came from his father's police salary, said, what should I do with all of these things at my disposal?
Become a vice
He went
lord.
to a fucking studio to make up a fake persona of being some type of gangster.
Since then, Freddie continued to issue threats, and at one point, he even claimed that he could have had Akademiks killed. But Ak kept standing his ground, and wouldn't hesitate to go off on Freddie during one of his infamous Twitter rants. After Freddie had a messy split from his adult star / baby mama
Here's
Destiny,
the L right
Ak
here.
used this to his full advantage, to the point that he maybe went a little far.
Yeah.
Freddie, what you didn't know and you're gonna hear her admit is that when she hit me up, which was about 4 months ago, your child was already 2 months cooking in that belly. When she appeared on Adam 22 Plug Talk, your child was a little bit more than baby batter at that point.
Oh my God.
That's Freddie Jr. in that gut. She wanted to link with me. This might sound crazy, but I hope you understand the grace I have extended you. I would have been rubbing that belly. I bought a stethoscope off Amazon. I was going to have a stethoscope in my ear and have the joint on her gut.
Although everyone knew that he and Freddie hated each other, no one knew he would go that far, and were pretty shocked by it. With one user commenting, Akademiks most definitely going through all 7 levels of hell for this one. But over the course of his career, Ak has proven that he doesn't take too kindly to threats. Just look at his years-long beef with Nicki Minaj. Back when Ak was still on Everyday Struggle in 2019, Ak critiqued Nicki pretty heavily for some of her antics, and came down on her for tracks like Megatron flopping. In response, she called him Joe Budden's sidekick during an interview with...
And that's funny. Joe Budden's sidekick is crazy because, again, like I said, Everyday Struggle was Akademiks. Now, Joe Budden, that ended up being a huge catapult for Joe Budden to, really reestablish his podcast and take off from there. But that show existed because of Akademiks, not Joe Budden. Like the inception of the show. If I were to go to those people who created this show, the inception of the show was probably, we got to get DJ Akademiks on Complex and we got to get him on a daily show. Who are we going to pair him with? I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
His former co-host. For a while, it seemed like Nicki was pretty unbothered, but suddenly, she slid into his DMs and let him have a piece of her mind, warning him to lay off in the process.
She said, you've been mad since I made a joke about you with Joe on my show. The people you rep won't stop your job from being broke. I know too much about your family for you to be playing with me, you hoe-ass rat. Where you at now?
Y'all forgot about it.
She said, send your number. My husband wants to talk to you. If I were you, I'd send your number because you're going to make it worse.
As someone who wasn't yet a household name, Akademiks was pretty happy to have the queen of rap come at him like this and said it reflected worse.
This is signs of a downward spiral. Remember she got at some journalist who criticized her, and eventually that journalist got fired. She got the right one. Like me, I like to keep it all the way public. This is how I came up, baby. Like, this is great. So she really just gave me content.
Since then, Ak has very rarely had any kind of word to say about Nicki Minaj. And after Nicki's husband was threatening Offset on her behalf, during the latest installment in her feud with Cardi B, Ak went all the way off.
I don't know nobody with a good good story about Nicki. Nicki Minaj has continued to give a facade of her being a decent, nice person behind the scenes. For anybody who's had real interactions with her, they've realized that she doesn't see anybody as someone that she should respect. Definitely not as equals. Definitely not as someone that she can't control. And now, which is very sad, and this is why I'm so happy that she's being exposed, Nicki Minaj actually think that she's a gangster bully. Nicki Minaj actually thinks that because she married a top-ranking blood member
is he blood?
Of some set, she could threaten and intimidate people with that guy. She tried to do it to me.
I thought I remembered this. I don't remember all of this though.
He only knows what he knows. He don't know nothing about the music industry. He's a crash dummy. He's been crashed out multiple times before. It's the reason why he's on federal probation or parole.
With fighting talk like that, it's no wonder that some people have questioned if Ak is putting himself in serious danger by constantly getting lit off the Henny and running his mouth.
You say you're a civilian, right? But yet, you telling niggas to pull up, right? You inviting niggas to drama, and you saying, when you get there, I ain't gonna do nothing to you. I'm just going to defend myself. But what if niggas actually pull up? And the niggas actually pull out?
Well, as he proved during his beef with Meek Mill, Ak will also play the civilian card when it suits him. Akademiks canceled because he's a bad police and our culture don't need him, Meek tweeted in 2020. He also gassed a lot of beef that got people killed and hurt, and never donated $1 to the culture.
So yeah, Akademiks, I would say yes, he did gas a lot of beef, like the Chirac stuff. But I think those people they were already on a downward spiral. I don't think, and it doesn't seem like Meek is going this route, but it kind of seems like he's implying that Akademiks is responsible for those people's death. No, those people are responsible for their own deaths. That was going to happen regardless. Chicago had been a hellhole before the Warren Chirac series, years before the Warren Chirac series. Chicago's murder rate was insane. All Akademiks did was document it. Now, I'm sure like the documentation kind of helped police. Maybe it I don't know. I'm not from Chicago, but I'm not with the implication that Akademiks got people killed, which kind of seems to be what Meek Mill is implying here.
After Ak responded, saying that he wasn't in the position to cancel anyone, things escalated to the point that Meek basically implied that he was putting out a hit on him. But at this point, Akademiks immediately alerted police.
Just stop snitching on yourself. Stop telling the world you're greenlighting people and just do what you have to do. When you say greenlighting, I send that to the police. I'm gonna be honest. Wait, Meek Mill just told me in front of the world I'm greenlit? Okay, here's the cops. Hey, Meek Mill, that's his account, that's his people. He said I'm greenlit. Are you dumb?
Since then, Meek has told Akademiks to stop posting him, but in typical Ak fashion, he's completely ignored that request. While Meek was probably just sick of Ak's narrative on him, one rapper who's taken it a step further to the point that it may lead to the courtroom is Megan Thee Stallion. The saga all revolves around the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion incident where he shot her in the foot at a party in Los Angeles. The whole thing has been covered pretty extensively, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail here, but the bottom line is that from the start, Akademiks wasn't buying Meg's version of events. So once the proceedings got underway, Ak was fighting Tory's corner, quickly posting the news that the DNA evidence on the gun was inconclusive. Immediately, Meg fired back at Akademiks and claimed that there was no possible way he could have this information.
And I don't know if the rappers like Nicki, Megan Thee Stallion, Meek Mill, by responding to Akademiks so vehemently, you are almost validating his word. If you just ignored him, and I know it's hard because he has such a large platform and then his thoughts influence other people's thoughts, but by responding to him like directly, like she responds to him directly, Big Ak, they are validating what he's saying, even though they're disagreeing. You're validating what he's saying by responding.
Court ain't even started yet, so why are y'all ready to start lying? I know some of y'all blogs on payroll, but please don't get sued trying to create a hate campaign. Be a real journalist and post facts. Clearly, the threat of a lawsuit did nothing to scare Ak off, who came right back at her. You've been living off a narrative, and it's sad you made it where if Tory don't go to jail, you don't win. Over time, he went from making it about the trial to going deeper about her career. At The Stallion, you literally signed to a dude, managed by a firm, and signed to another conglomerate. You don't own nothing you put out. You literally won all your awards off this "you got shot" storyline. Get your masters back, then holla. Hated by Megan's fans, and even shaded by her lawyer that labeled his actions as nothing more than the dishonest machinations of a desperate man, Ak has remained defiant whenever talk of the lawsuit came up. And if anything, he's gone even harder. Recently, when Megan claimed that her days of being promiscuous were over, he saw this as the perfect time to do an expose on her.
Tory knew you was. By the way, Tory felt you was easy. I'm not speaking for Tory. I'm speaking on everything I've heard about that situation. You was easy. Was flying to him. He never had to do nothing. He never had to inconvenience himself. He ain't had to do, like, you left your team, flew on a private jet without security, anybody, to see him. You're paying tens of thousands to go see him, to get piped out at his spot. He's getting free. He's chilling. He don't care.
At the moment, Megan hasn't responded to the latest claims, and she probably doesn't even have to, because by ignoring them, it contributes to the idea that he only picks on women like this. Just look at what he had to say about SZA.
But SZA,
you went hard on SZA, I'm not gonna lie.
Let me give you the truth. This is the ether that's gonna make your fucking soul burn. I don't care how many albums you sell.
And you off that Henny.
Chick, you are just as fat as me. The doctors, the fucking surgeons can't fix you.
And people say he only has this smoke for women. That's just false, because we just seen how he was talking about Meek Mill. We saw the NBA YoungBoy stuff earlier. The Freddie Gibbs was probably the most disrespectful thing I've seen in rap. Like, no one's even made a diss song in rap that is as disrespectful as when Ak got Freddie Gibbs' baby moms on his podcast, so on his stream rather. So it's not just women.
The lip gloss, the fake teeth, it doesn't matter. You're just a fat mini Lizzo.
It was a completely unprovoked attack, and it only ended up when his favorite rapper, Drake, had to call him.
I don't know if it was unprovoked. I remember Ak and SZA going back and forth, and then Punch got involved from TDE. I don't know if it was unprovoked.
Him up to tell him to stop. Unfortunately, his goat wasn't around to stop him when he decided to get brave with women by screaming at his girlfriend about how he was the prize in a mall.
Oh yeah, this is the chick that be stealing money from him, the chick that be manipulating him and all that. Like, dang, that was, yo. I wonder if Louaista is gonna go into that situation.
Unsurprisingly, he caught major flack for that. Money can't unlame a lame. He would never keep that same energy if it was a man. Weak man.
And the crazy thing is that chick be running laps around him. That's the crazy part.
And recently, he only empowered the people with this opinion during his feud with Carisha and Saucy Santana.
Yeah.
For months now, Ak has been involved with a woman known as Shy or Shy Glizzy.
Here we go.
Since the outset, things have been
Louaista comprehensive. He gets to everything. He gets to everything.
Chaotic. With the girl that Ak allegedly issues a $30,000 a month allowance to regularly subtweeting him, or even posting some scandalous content about Ak on his own dedicated Discord server that got it temporarily taken down. According to him, things between himself and Shy came to a head when it was revealed that she'd stolen upwards of $50,000 from various safes.
Nah, brother. 500,000. Not 50.
In his house. But when you made a lot of enemies and became a divisive figure online like Ak has, you're more likely to get mocked than receive any sort of empathy for what you went through.
I'm trying to see how bad is this girl, I mean, to be going through all that with her. Let me see.
Became a divisive
See what she
figure
working
online
with.
like Ak has, you're more likely to get mocked than
She light skin, that's it.
receive
I mean,
any sort of empathy.
ain't
for
worth
what you
it, bro.
went
Ain't
through.
worth it,
And
bro.
that's exactly how social media responded to him getting finessed. A late entry for Simp of the Year goes to Akademiks. Yet Cheyenne isn't the only love interest in Ak's life that's causing him problems these days. And some of the accusations being made could finally be what derails his career if there's any legitimacy to them. Speaking about an unnamed woman on a recent podcast, Ak opened up about a girl who was allegedly unfaithful when Ak was in the house.
I'm shaming her now. I'm shaming her. I said,
Right.
yo, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you, bro. And you came to my house and had two niggas just fuck you raw. I ain't
Oh yeah, so this is actually recent, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. The crazy part is it's not the girl. I mean, Akademiks kind of dedicated this portion of this podcast to talking about the girl and what she did wrong, but it was two of his friends who smashed the girl he was talking to, smashed his side chick in his house while he sleep. You need to be getting at your friends, bro. Quote unquote friends.
I ain't seen no condom, no none. I said, yo, you should go get tested, man. Like, you done, I said, that's wild, yo, you should go get tested, bro. From that moment, the denial shifted, and she kept, like, trying to, like, pivot on the denial to, yo, nah, send me the video. Yo, I'm pretty sure I didn't fuck him, and I'm like, bro, you fucked him. And she was like, no, look again. And now I'm getting super tight, because I'm like, bro, I'm not about to watch this video if you getting fucked, my, like, it's on my surveillance. Like, bro, like, I was fucking with you. Like, what, you want me to watch the video if you getting fucked?
Unfortunately for Ak, opening up about the situation might have been a major misstep. Not willing to let him get his narrative out there unchallenged, Zia Abash, known on Instagram as Miss Zia, took her account and told her side, and suddenly the whole story had a more sinister side to it.
I look crazy right now, but I'm not gonna stand here and let this man continue to lie about me.
New York.
That's not what happened, Akademiks. You know that that's not what happened. And for you to pretend that you didn't do anything, that I just went to your house and I'm just some thought, like we didn't know each other for 2 years. You tried to save yourself after your friends assaulted me. Whether or not you got drunk or not, I know that when you woke up, you were on top of me too. Me too, and a kit was done. You know what? I'm gonna come back with my own story.
I don't know if she actually came back with her own story.
This what you wanted, you're about to get it. I've been quiet for way too long.
The minute that she said that, it's like the floodgates were open, and suddenly, Ak was getting hit on all sides by accusation. Within days, 17-year-old girls were posting the receipts of DMs from Ak, accusing him of grooming them by waiting until they turned 18 to fly them out. In the meantime, old clips have also resurfaced.
So even though you may think this is weird, I mean, the fact that he asks, when are you 18? It shows he's actually trying to be law-abiding. Okay, you may think it's weird, but there's no solid evidence of, he was actually piping down a 16, 17-year-old. So, I mean, that's the saving grace there.
Which showed that Ak
still not a good look, though.
Phased about the legal age of consent as he should have been.
And to keep it real, if you think about it in the bigger scheme of things, there's not much difference between a 20 or a 17 or a 21 and a 17. Just kind of mean one's a minor and one's not a minor.
In any situation, that clip resurfacing wouldn't be a good look. But when there's
not a good
already
look,
a
right?
whole host of people who would love to see you
I was about to say the same
and
thing.
there's people chattering about you being a creep, it's really not going to help your case.
Exactly.
Considering how despised he is, it's no surprise that some of his old enemies like Freddie Gibbs have rushed in to twist the knife. At Akademiks, quiet as a church mouse today, Happy New Year, you R-word ass bitch. I'ma come to court to slap you. In typical Ak fashion, he's still getting in disputes with artists even as all this was going down. Because when he caught Metro Boomin liking a tweet which celebrated all of his ongoing issues, he responded in his usual combative way.
You been crying like a hoe behind the scenes talking all type of shit. You a pillow talking for the max. I get on 10 with you all day. What's up? You won't respond to me at all. Last time I posted you 20 times on my page, you was crying, balling. If Savage wasn't cool with you, I would have been on you for, I would have been violated you every single day. Go mourn in peace, little. Don't take what I got going on for weakness. I be on everybody.
Knowing that he can rely on his streaming audience who hang on his every word, Ak has made it clear that if he's going down swinging, and that he won't give his haters the satisfaction of going quietly.
I'm crime-free, charge-free, STD-free.
That's crazy.
But I will tell you this, I am not hater-free.
Right.
There's been numerous individuals who probably have felt certain ways about me over the years that they could never come at me themselves. They're gonna latch on to any false narrative. They've been waiting. They've tried before.
Whether or not anything sticks, it's clear by now that it'll take nothing less than a literal criminal conviction to stop Ak from hopping onto his gaming chair and speaking to his global audience. Because even though he'll never be beloved, hip-hop fans see him as a necessary evil, and that they'll tune into his videos if there's an interesting topic or they want to hear his latest drunken rant. And when he's beefing with another MC, or those situations where he becomes the news rather than reporting it, those viewing figures are only going to keep shooting up even higher.
Okay, so that was a great video. Great video there.
DJ
by,
Akademiks is always in.
Yeah, that was a great video there by Louaista. And I'll say this: I won't do too long of a monologue post video, but I'll say that yes, Akademiks has a lot of enemies in the rap world. That's fine, but I think where Akademiks is going to run into an issue is, well, one, someone's going to end up. In the video towards the end, Louaista said nothing short of a criminal conviction is going to stop Akademiks from getting his gaming chair and going on a drunken rant. Yeah, a criminal conviction or death, right? And obviously, this is rap. This is black culture, hip hop. Someone's going to catch up with you and put hands on you or worse eventually. I mean, that's going to happen. It's going to happen. Like, Akademiks is just not going to walk out here scot-free for the rest of his life. Someone's going to catch up with him. Two, Akademiks has a really strange circle. Like, dude could have died last year or whenever that home invasion situation was. His home almost got invaded. And, yeah, those guys could have, if they would have came in that door and they could have tied him up, killed him. He could have tried to defend himself, got killed. Like, a lot of things could have happened in that situation. So, yeah, nothing short of a criminal conviction or death, right? And he keeps his strange people around him, like his girl who's manipulating him. His girl had a friend who almost got him sidelined and killed and robbed. His girl stealing from him. His friends are fucking a chick who he's talking to, knowing he's talking to her, and they fucked her while he's sleeping. His other friend, Lil Boom, was touching people at Walmart. He just has like one of the worst circles I've ever seen, ever. Definitely worst circle in hip hop, right? And then the last thought that I have, and this is more of a personal thought, is I noticed with especially content creators, YouTubers, streamers, your audience will watch you even if they don't like you. They may like how you cover situations, or you may be the only person covering certain topics on a frequent basis. But when you start like flexing on your audience, that creates envy in your audience, but it also creates a distaste for you. So in that they'll still watch and like and comment on your videos, but when something bad with you happens, like Akademiks in his situations with his girlfriend, Akademiks and the Lil Boom stuff, when something happens with you, you'll notice like your fan base sharply reacts against you. Like a portion of your fan base sharply reacts against you. And Asmongold, who's a streamer, he spoke about this really, really well.
No viewer wants to sit around and hear you talk unless you're like one of those, just like a douchebag YouTuber. It's like Jake Paul or like Logan Paul. He can talk about how much money he makes all the time and people are gonna like him more for it. But most average people don't want to hear a YouTube content creator talk about how much money they're making. Because again, it goes back to what I was saying about people that are living in resentment of the fact that they're not in that position.
He knows because the people I'm talking to don't have this. And it's going to create a situation where people are still watching you. You think everything is okay because you're still getting good views and good engagement, but your audience is turning against you because you're flexing on them. And obviously, I mean, even Fresh and Fit sees this. When something happens with one of them, you'll notice like the fan base is not all like for them. And it'll make you wonder, like you read the comments, like, why are you even watching this if you don't like these guys? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So Akademiks runs the risk of almost a coup. Not a coup in that one of his fans is going to take over his channel, but a coup in the sense that something happens that's bad enough and your fan base turns on you. Because Akademiks does flex on his fan base. Like he'll say like, yo, I have $400,000. Yeah, I wiped my ass with that. I spent that last week in Atlantic City. Like he'll throw the money talk out there. And I always think, okay, that's great because I mean you earned that money. You've done a great job in this media space. But I always think like, would Akademiks be like flexing like this if you knew his audience were people that had the same amount of money as him or more? Would he then be like, oh yeah, $200,000 here? Yeah, I got a car that costs this. My house is 800 square feet. If the rest of his, if the rest of his audience lived at or above that means, would he do it, flex to that degree? I don't think so. Because why would you flex? Like, yo, I have a house that's 10,000 square feet. But then everyone else watching, like, yeah, ours is too. Mine is 15,000 square feet. There will really be no reason to even talk like that unless you know you're talking to people that don't have it. So and I noticed this, if you go to the Akademiks subreddit, or even if you watch the comments on some of his videos, you'll see there are people that are there, they're watching it because they watch the channel. But as soon as something bad happens or something not in his favor, you'll see like there's a shift, and those same watchers are now like critiquing and not really giving him the benefit of the doubt. And Asmongold, I gotta find a video where he talked about this. It's because people don't like being flexed on, and Akademiks does that a lot. So he has a lot of enemies on the outside, like the rappers, but he also has a lot of enemies in his own fan base, the chat niggas, which I don't think he sees yet. But it comes to the surface every time some bad shit happens, which the past 6 months for Akademiks, like he's been in the media for like not a lot of good things, you know what I mean? So anyways, I said I wouldn't monologue too long, and then I monologued hella long. But anyways, that's it. Shout out to Louaista, great video, great production value always on his videos. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Top5rapwebsite.com. Peace.